have a wonderful electronic invention I want you to see. It looks something like this.
Welcome to the Vapors Report. I'm Anthony Ramella. Here at the Vapors Report, we provide you with the news you want to know, reviews you can really use, and interviews with experts and idiots. We'll keep our head in the clouds and our finger on the pulse. If you enjoy our show, please subscribe and hit that like button below. Thanks for watching. This week's top story, vaping is still trying to get its boots on. There's an old saying that a lie can make it halfway around the world before the truth can get its boots on, and this story is a perfect example of that. People, Fortune, NBC, The Washington Times, CBS This Morning, Bloomberg.com, ABC News, the San Francisco Chronicle, the Daily Beast, and even Coed.com have reported that the Juul Corporation has been raided by the FDA. This is simply not true. The New York Times, CNBC, NPR, the Daily Mail, and the San Francisco Weekly skipped the word raid, but did report that the FDA had seized documents. The fact is, this is just a dramatic description of what was nothing more than an unscheduled FDA inspection. When the health inspector visits your local McDonald's, it's basically the same thing. Most inspections are done on a surprise basis to make sure companies are obeying the law every day. All e-cigarette manufacturers that are registered with the FDA are subject to these inspections, and these inspections are not scheduled. The seizures were simply the FDA asking for further documentation about marketing practices, and the Juul Corporation probably just made them copies of whatever they asked for. The purpose of these inspections is to determine the compliance with all FDA laws. Both CBS and NBC claimed that in a recent report from the CDC that Juul had sold 16.2 million devices in 2017, when in fact the paper described unit sales of e-cigarette products, which would include far more refills than devices. The implication by the reporter was that there are 16 million individual people who own a Juul, and that's just pure propaganda. Stories like these illustrate a common problem among most of the vaping coverage in mainstream news. Reporters and editors don't understand the products, the industry, or the people who use e-cigarettes, and they don't want to understand because the news stories wouldn't be very scary. The worst part is that most people simply trust the FDA that they know what they're doing. And anyone familiar with Olestra knows that that ain't true. The downside is that it makes it easy for myths and misinformation to spread rapidly, especially helped along with tobacco control groups like Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids, who may push stories on editors and offer quotes from their leaders who are considered expert sources by reporters, but they have little knowledge of the history of tobacco regulation and zero knowledge of the vaping industry. The bottom line is, don't believe everything you hear unless you hear it on the Vapors Report. And now I hear that Megan has something she wants to tell us about, so that means it must be time for the Juice of the Week.
Start spreading the news, Anthony, because this week we have a great new juice from Homegrown called New York, New York. New York, New York is a scrumptious blend of creamy vanilla yogurt and crunchy sweet granola. If you're looking for a smooth, satisfying vape that will leave your taste buds begging for more, New York, New York is everything they'd say and no place I'd rather be. To get your hands on this great flavor at a great price, check out Vapors1.com. And now for someone who looks like he ate the Big Apple, back to the studio.
Thanks, Megan. In other vaping news, kids in Florida have been tricked by treats. 7 young Florida children were rushed to the hospital earlier this month after swallowing nicotine lozenges. One child brought the 4 milligram mint-flavored Nicorette lozenges to school and offered them to his classmates. "We thought it was candy," 9-year-old Jaheim Moore said. They even played a game to see who could eat the most, and Jaheim Moore told CBS that "my stomach started hurting, I was shaking, and then I threw up." Doctors at Briard Health said that the kids had rapid heartbeats and low blood pressure. The symptoms are exactly those of a nicotine overdose. Jaheim's father told the TV station that the child that had passed out the candy bought the lozenges himself. He stated that he had bought it from a store and he didn't see why the store sold him that nicotine medicine. It is illegal to sell nicotine replacement therapy products like lozenges to minors without a prescription, but many stores have them displayed right near the candy at the checkout counters. While the FDA works itself into a frenzy over teenage vaping, nicotine replacement therapy products remain easily available, and these types of products create much more of a risk for small children. Large quantities of nicotine gum or lozenges could be swallowed by a young child much more easily and quickly than a dangerous amount of e-liquid. Fruity e-liquid may smell delicious, but a few drops on the tongue would probably convince you that drinking enough to cause harm would not be an easy task. But nicotine lozenges are made to taste good, and a quote from the article said, "They're sweet like candy and you can use them when you need them, so it's easy to take more than you need or more than the recommended amount in a 24-hour period." They would probably cause vomiting, like drinking nicotine does, but they are still dangerous if a large quantity is swallowed. While the Juul Corporation has grabbed the attention of self-promoting politicians, pharmaceutical products like Nicorette stay off the radar because politicians, like most people, trust pharmaceutical companies. Nicorette is made by the Johnson & Johnson Company and sold in the U.S. by GlaxoSmithKline. Before Mitch Zeller took the reins at the FDA's Center for Tobacco Products, he worked as a lobbyist for GlaxoSmithKline. And in 2001, Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids president Matthew Myers said that giving these products to smoking teenagers was no big deal. So apparently, the brains of Florida kids eating pharmaceutical nicotine aren't in danger. Once the nicotine passes through the Johnson & Johnson factory, it magically emerges as clean, healthy medicine blessed by the FDA and anti-nicotine crusaders alike. Lots of smokers quit and relapse yearly with their choice of gum, lozenges, or patches, which are paid for by a mandated insurance benefit that was fought for by the hard-working lobbyists at J&J and Glaxo. The funny thing is that the whole world is freaking out about teen vaping, but did you know that more adults have quit smoking with vaping than all other stop smoking products combined? Seems like if the product is made by a big corporation, then it's safe, but if it's not, then it must be unsafe. What a terrible assumption, but we all know what happens when you assume. Now, I assume some of you out there are on the lookout for a new device. So let's go to our product guru, Megan Perrault, and see what she's got for us this week.
I hope you're ready for what's coming now. I'm the one on the lady that would bring it down.
Well, Anthony, this week we have a great device for the dripper on the go. It's the Pulse 80-watt Squonk Box from VandyVape. Squonk boxes are designed as an easy way to re-drip without having to disassemble your tank, and VandyVape has put together a great one. The Pulse regulated Squonk Box will fit drippers up to 25 millimeters and has a 7 ml juice capacity. The Pulse offers wattage, temperature control, bypass, and curve modes, but my favorite thing about the Pulse is that it is a regulated mod and has safety features built right in. One of the other great things about the Pulse is the removable side panels, which makes battery removal very easy. With its good looks, safety features built right in, and quality that is second to none makes the Pulse the best Squonk Box in the market. So to get yours, just check out the best vape shop in Toledo or go to vaporsone.com and pick up one today. And now, back to the studio.
Thanks, Megan. Here at the Vapors Report, we want to give you knowledge you can use. With this in mind, it's time for Ramella's Rant. This week, I was listening to a local radio station, and during their news segment, they talked about a new law in California that has me growling. The new law goes into effect on January the 1st, 2019, that has me scratching my head. The new law now treats family pets like children when it comes to divorce. Married couples will now have to fight for either sole or joint custody of the pets, and the courts will give custody to the parent that can provide prevention from harm and cruelty, and also provide for the pet. The hope of the new law is to reduce the number of homeless pets. Okay, I've got several issues with this, but let's focus on just a few for today. First, homeless pets. California has by far the highest human homeless rates in the country, and it keeps going up. Last year, the total number of homeless humans in California reached over 114,000. That's more than the population of over 20 cities in California that includes Burbank and San Mateo. With this many homeless people, should homeless animals really be our biggest concern? Second, our court systems are already bursting with cases, and this will only add to the problem. Or worse, take time away from people who really need the courts. But my real concern is, if you're not the parent that gets custody, are you going to be legally responsible to pay pet support? Last, but definitely not least, we are taking time away from lawmakers who should be spending their time working on laws to help people. Maybe find a way to outlaw cigarettes and make vaping available as a safe alternative. But instead, cities like San Francisco have made ridiculous laws that have made flavored vape products illegal, but have kept cancer-causing cigarettes legal, and I really think they need to have their heads examined. There are serious problems out there, and this kind of lawmaking makes a mockery of the entire system. Here at the Vapors Report, we want you to make the switch to a healthy alternative lifestyle, and we want to put laws in place that make sense. So tune in next week for more great news at the same vape time, same vape channel. I'm Anthony Ramella. Thank you and good night.
Well, I have a wonderful electronic invention I want you to see. It looks something like this.